Today we're going to be looking at Good Die Young in the color Stoned Pony. So first thing you may notice is that my swatches are labeled 1 through 12. I just want to say that is not synonymous with hair levels. Basically, I'll do different video clips and pictures and such near the end of the video, so numbers just help us keep track of each swatch. These are human hair swatches, but they are not virgin hair, so they've been chemically bleached, colored, or treated at some point in their existences. One is green. Oftentimes when I do pink or purple hair dye, I get a lot of requests to do green swatches, so we're going to see how that turns out. 2 is a cool toned gray, 3 is a natural red, 4 is a really soft black, and then 4 to 11 is a range that goes to platinum blonde, and then 12 is like a toned version of number 11. So I will take the color directly from the container and I will put it at the top of each swatch. Then I know this is a really pastel color, but a lot of people like to dilute their dyes, so I'm going to do a diluted version at the bottom of each swatch. Please keep in mind, everyone's hair is different, which means everyone's hair will take color differently. Plus different screens and monitors and everything can make colors look different, so please just use my video as a reference for how this could maybe possibly turn out for you. For the diluted section, we're going to do a 2-to-1 ratio. So that's going to be 1 part of our color to 2 parts diluter. Now, if you don't know what diluter is, my simple answer is that it basically just lightens the color of a semi-permanent dye. Now, usually each brand will sell their own version of a diluter. It'll have the same consistency. So if you feel more comfortable, you can always do that. But to keep things fair between all of my videos and all of my colors, I always just use a plain white conditioner as my diluter. So now I'm going to let these sit for about 3 hours so that the color has a lot of time to just fully absorb. Then I will rinse them out, and when they're dry, I will meet you back here and we can do our comparisons. So I want to do a quick disclaimer before we get too far into the video. I want to remind everyone that my swatches are not virgin hair. So virgin hair will often have a harder time taking semi-permanent dye, and then even if it does take, sometimes it'll wash out really easily. And that can be especially true with pastel colors like this. These kind of colors especially are much more recommended if you have pre-lightened, chemically colored hair. My best advice is to always do a strand test. So number 1 was originally green. On the direct eye portion, I can't really say that I see a lot of purple. It actually looks quite gray. Maybe in natural lighting, it'll have a slightly more purpley look to it, but if so, I still feel like it'd be like a purpley undertoned grayish color. The diluted section, that still looks relatively green. I do see a slight undertone difference. It looks a little bit more smoky than it did before, but overall still pretty green. 2 was the gray. The direct eye portion definitely looks a lot more cool tone in comparison to like the blonder swatches, and a little bit darker, which I do like to say in my videos that cool tone colors don't reflect light as well as warm tones. So the blonde having a yellowy undertone is going to look brighter than a gray, even though this dye is the same dye on both swatches. On the bottom half, again, obviously that time it makes more sense for it to be gray. I think there's a slight slight undertone difference from before, but it's not a major one. It might be just a little bit more purple. Number 3 was the natural red, and I'm actually going to combine that with the 5, 6, and 7. So on the direct eye portion, there is a very minimal difference. If you have virgin hair and it's a little bit darker, I really don't think this would work for you. If your hair is not virgin, I still am a little iffy about how it would turn out. On my swatches, every swatch still looks pretty close to how it was before. There's just a slight undertone difference. So over your hair, you're looking for a slight like undertone difference. And then on the diluted sections, it's even less prominent, as you could imagine. I don't really see much purple coming through until we get to number 8. So going back, number 4 was the soft black, and definitely did not see a difference there. Even though I do see a difference on number 8, I don't feel like it looks as purple until you get to number 10. But then my favorites are 11 and 12. On number 11, it looks a little bit more saturated and bright versus the number 10. And I really like the number 12 as well because it has a very smooth, consistent look to it. I think it took really well to the toned swatch, which is what I was going to actually suggest. If you have very yellowy hair or hair that bleaches very yellowy, I'd recommend toning your hair before putting a pastel purple on top. You'll get a much better result because usually purple and yellow can kind of cancel each other out. And then as for the diluted section, again, I prefer the 11 and 12. There's a slight undertone difference. It's a little bit more cool tone on the 8, 9, and 10, but not really purple. As for comparisons, I thought we would do a more popular color first, and that would be Arctic Fox in the color Girls Night. This is comparable to number 12, number 11. This is comparable to number 10 and number 9. It's a little hard to tell, but I think I would say that Girls Night is a touch lighter if you are looking for a pastel purple to use as a toner. From my own experience, I would definitely recommend using a slightly more cool toned pastel purple with a little bit more blue than pink. So in that case, I would recommend the Girls Night instead of Stoned Pony if you're looking for a dye to do that with. Also, Lunar Tides in the color Amethyst is also very, very similar to Girls Night from Arctic Fox. And then this one is going to be Directions in the color Lavender. This is comparable to number 12, 11, number 10, and 9. To me, the Directions is still a touch more cool tone, just a little bit more cool tone than the Stoned Pony. So far, the Stoned Pony is going to be the most pinky, undertoned pastel purple that I currently have in my collection. So if I get anything even more pink that's still a purple and it's pastel, I will definitely compare that in the future. But now I'd like to look at our before and after clips, which those, as well as everything after that point in the video, is going to be done with natural lighting. I hope my video helped. If you have a request, I have a link below to a Google form you can fill out. Just remember, I only do brands that do not test on animals. Thank you so very, very much to my patrons, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.